Right, I'm gonna start because it's 5 o'clock my time, and I don't want it to be too long with the intro. Right, beautiful ladies, welcome back today. Whether you're here live or watching the replay, I see you and I celebrate you for making yourself a priority today. That's no small thing, especially when when so much of your life has been spent putting everyone else first and yourself last. Today, we're going to dive into something that I know will resonate deeply: unlearning the good girl rules. Those unspoken expectations that have kept you stuck in people pleasing, perfectionism, and the fear of disappointing others. But before we get into that, let's make sure you're fully connected so that you can get the most out of this space and the powerful shifts that we create here together, shall we? Now, staying connected inside of the Shatter Chaos and Conditioning Facebook group. Let me just refresh my screen and see if anyone has come up yet watching me. No, that's fine. Right. If you're watching the replay, let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching live, please let me know where you're watching from too. Now, Facebook doesn't always show you all of the posts of the Shatter Chaos and Conditioning Facebook group unless you engage with them. So we can fix that. We can actually fix that. You will be able to see all of the posts that are coming on a daily basis. If you can click the three dots in the actual Facebook group, and a menu will pop up and it will say manage notifications, and you can then choose that you want to see all notifications, so you can, you will never ever miss an insight or a live training ever again, which will be really, really good if you can, because there is so much going on in that group and it's so valuable. But then if you don't get them on your newsfeed, then there's a lot of lost, isn't there? Now, when you've joined this group, I've got lots of new people joining recently, which is really, really nice. I will send you shortly a personal welcome message on Messenger. It includes extra resources that I can't send until you acknowledge this first message of me welcoming you. So it's a message without any links. It's just saying, hello, how are you? Can I ask you some questions just to see in what way I can help you? There's no sales page, there's absolutely nothing. It's a genuine conversation. I would really like to get to know the members in the group. So please, if you have not seen or got my message yet, it might have landed in your message request or spam folder. And until you see that message, I won't be able to send you another one. Now, to actually get there is you can go into the Messenger app, go in the left corner, you've got 3 stripes or 2 stripes, click on that, and then you can see message requests popping up in a menu. Click on that, and you can then see that there's a spam folder, but also people that you might know. Now, if you click on the there, I might have popped up in there. So if you acknowledge that message or go into the message, say hi back, or yeah, fine, ask me some questions, it will then ask you if you want to have it in your normal inbox, which I would advise, because then at least you get a notification when I send you another message. Email updates, weekly coaching support. I also send coaching emails to support you beyond this group. Sundays, there's a sneak peek to support you to upcoming trainings. On Tuesday, there's coaching insights and support. Also on Tuesday is like a promotional email. This week, I send out a promotional email about next week's new masterclass that I invite you. If you would like to come to that, more on that later. I will announce it in a minute, actually. But so it's not just about paid services, these promotional emails. It's also about what I offer, what I do, what free, whatever. So keep an eye out for them. On Thursdays, I send a replay link for our live sessions. If you're not getting my emails, send me a message on Messenger so that I can add you to my list. If you already signed up but not seeing them, check your spam folder, because I might again have landed in there. And then if you can mark them as non-spam, then they should land in your email inbox, which would be a lot better. Now, if you want to chat one-to-one with me, there is some limited free mentorship calls available. I have this week, actually. These are not sales calls. I want to highlight that very much. They're a chance to explore what's keeping you stuck and get clarity on your next steps towards freedom. If you feel called to chat, grab your spots before they're gone. And I'm really, really, really eager to meet you. So again, you can keep your bank account tucked away. There's no sales in this call at all, because I'm just genuinely interested how I can give back to you by doing what I do and what I like, and what I love. So there you go. Now, this space here is for you. So engagement during this training today, please share your insights, your comments. I might not pause for every response during the training, but I will circle back to read and engage with your thoughts afterwards. Now, like I just said, there is a masterclass planned next week. If today's training sparks something in you, if you're ready to go deeper, then do not miss next week's live Zoom masterclass workshop. It's on Wednesday, February 26th. It's called Condition to Believe and How Your Past Created Your Beliefs and How to Rewrite Them. It's a hands-on workshop where I'll guide you step by step through identifying and rewriting the limiting beliefs that are running your life on autopilot. Now, this is a real-time interactive session. If you want to come, please do. More than welcome. Happy to have you. And in this interactive session, I will walk you, you will walk away with lots of tools that you can use immediately to start shifting your inner dialogue. So drop an I'm in the comments if you want to see it, and I'll send you the details to opt in for it. Now, last but not least, let's dive in and get to this training today about unlearning the good girls rules. And it's going to open your eyes to how deeply ingrained people pleasing and perfectionism really are, and what needs to shift before you can break free. You ready? Let's do this. Now I'm going to share my screen. Oh dear, my flipping. I've got all these bloody screens open that I just need to have a look. There we are. Share. I would like to share screen 3. Share. And if correct, you can now see my slideshow. There we are. Right. So there we are. Beautiful ladies, welcome to today's training, Unlearning the Good Girl Rules, how to stop living for others' approval, because that's what we do, right? I am so incredibly excited that you're here or watching the replay. I see you, I honor you for taking this time for yourself. Now let's start with a quick check-in. Drop an hello in the comments if you've ever felt like you had to be nice, even when you didn't want to, just to keep the peace or avoid disappointment. Let me know in the chat if you've ever felt like this, that you had to be nice, even when you didn't want to, or just to keep the peace or avoid disappointing anyone. If your hand is up, you're not alone. I promise you, so many of us were raised to believe that our worth comes from being helpful and agreeable and likable rather than from simply being who we are. And that is exactly what we're going to explore today. So let's dive in. Now, who I am? Who am I? For those of you who are new to my world, I am Milou Hilhorst. I'm an empowerment life coach and the creator of the Peaceful Chaos Method group coaching program. I help women, especially those in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s. Older is also perfectly fine, who feel like they've spent their entire lives taking care of others, proving their worth, and trying to be good enough for everyone except themselves. Why do I do this work? Because I was that woman. Okay. I grew up believing that in order to be loved, I had to be easygoing, helpful, never too much. Now, I carried those good girl rules into adulthood, saying yes when I wanted to say no, putting everyone else first, and constantly worrying about what others were going to think or say or whatever, whatnot. Okay. Where did it get me? I was absolutely burned out 10 years ago. I felt lost. I was questioning who I even was. And it took a breakdown and 2 year long burnout 10 years ago for me to finally wake up and realize that I was not living my life for myself. I was actually living for approval of others. Now, if this resonates with you, then trust me, you are not alone. Okay. And the good news is you can break free from these patterns. And today we're going to start by understanding where they come from. Right. Now, let's have a look at the truth about the good girl conditioning. Here is the hard truth. All right. You were taught to believe that your worth comes from being nice, agreeable, and self-sacrificing. Now, you learned that keeping others happy was more important than honoring yourself. And you internalized the idea that love and acceptance have to be earned. But here is what they never told you. Okay? These good girl rules don't make you safe. They make you feel exhausted. These good girl rules, they don't make you worthy. They make you feel like you'll never be enough. And they don't bring you freedom. They actually trap you in cycles of overgiving, overthinking, and over apologizing. So if you've ever thought, why do I feel so drained even when I do everything right? This is why. Because living for approval isn't living at all. Okay? It's surviving. It's a survival mode. And I know that you're ready for more than that. And that is why this training is so important. Because once you start seeing where these beliefs come from, you can finally start changing them. Let me know in the chat who's there and where you're watching from. And if this resonates with you, please, I really, really would like to know. Now, what you'll learn today we're going to break this down step by step. By the end of this training, you'll understand where the good girl rules come from and how they shaped your life. We're going to look at the hidden costs of living for approval, what it's doing to your confidence, energy, and your happiness. And we're going to look at where you need to start to shift out of these patterns so that you can begin making choices for you instead of everyone else. And this is not about blaming ourselves for following these rules. Absolutely not. We were conditioned with them. Okay, we were conditioned into them. And this is about waking up to the truth so we can finally make different choices. Okay, now let's do this. If we look at the hidden scripts that we grew up with, you know, the unspoken rules we were taught to follow. From the time that we were little girls, we were taught to we were taught a set of unspoken rules rules that shaped how we behave, how we see ourselves, and what we believe we're allowed to do or not. They were written, they were written the invisible. Okay, they weren't written in a book, they weren't written down on anything. No one sat us down and said, here are the rules. Here's a nice paper, but we absorb them through our families, our culture, our society, and over time, they became our truth. So what are these rules? Let's break them down, okay? Oh, I'm going to quick, thank you. These are some of the most common good girl rules we were conditioned to follow. All right, let me know in the chat if you recognize yourself in any of them. Always be perfect. Always be acceptable. Always be likable. Always be available, flexible, and accommodating. Always put others before yourself. Always be helpful. Always make everyone happy. Put on a brave face. Always keep the peace. And always show up when you need it. Be on. Does that make sense? Now, there's also these. Good girls must never express opinions or make others uncomfortable or make others feel bad. We must never disappoint others. Ask for help. Be a burden. Show our emotions or weaknesses. We must never let anyone down. Say no without an excuse or go against the norm. Can you see yourself in these rules? Or there is another one. Have you ever heard one of, or more than one of these? Your worth is based on how much you achieve. So the better you do, the better you are. If someone is upset with you, you've probably done something wrong. It's your fault. Love is something that you earn, which is horrible. It's not. Your job is to serve others. And your feelings don't matter as much as other people's feelings, okay? These rules are so deeply ingrained that we don't even question them. We just live by them, okay? We feel guilty when we break them. We feel anxious when we disappoint. We feel anxious when we disappoint someone in our surroundings or have to say no, and we tell ourselves that this is just how life is supposed to be. Let me know in the chat if you are familiar with these rules. Okay? Here is what I need you to understand. These rules are not your truth. Okay? They were taught to you. And anything that was taught, I need you to listen to me here very carefully. Anything that you were taught can be unlearned. Okay? Hi, Peggy. It's nice to have you, lovely. Now, you might be wondering, if these rules are so harmful, why do we believe them so deeply? Why? Because they feel so normal. They feel like the way things are, not because they're true, but because we've been conditioned to accept them. It's just the way they are. Correct? So where did they come from? Family. Maybe you grew up in a home where you were good, where being good meant being quiet, helpful, agreeable, anything. It might come from culture. Maybe you absorb messages that a good woman is selfless, nurturing, and always available. Or maybe you've learned it from society. The world around you reinforced that being likable and accommodating is more important than being honest and real. It's something for the UK here. I'm Dutch, I'm very straightforward. I live in the UK, and people in the UK are not very straightforward, yeah? The being honest and real is very foreign for them, and I am like that. It's not always, taken with welcoming thoughts. Now, over time, these influences shape our identity. Okay. And instead of asking, what do I want? We ask, what do they expect of me? Will this make them happy? And am I being good enough? But constantly trying to be what others want comes at a price. Okay? A massively big one. Let's have a look. Living by these rules doesn't bring you peace, it brings you pressure. Now, the cost of following the good girl rules could be constant anxiety about disappointing others or what they will say or think. Let me know in the chat if you are struggling with something that's happening with you in your life that's in this list. You might be feeling guilty when you prioritize yourself. You might be really badly struggling to say no or set boundaries. You might fear judgment or rejection when you finally choose yourself or go against the normal. And the cost of following the good girl rules is always proving yourself and never feeling like you're good enough. And I think this is something that we are ingrained with. Does it sound familiar? If so, you are not alone. So many of us have spent years trapped in these cycles, exhausting ourselves in the process. But here's the most important thing that I want you to hear today. You do not have to keep living like this, okay? You were conditioned to believe that your worth depends on other people's approval. But the truth is, your worth has never, ever depended on anyone else's opinion. Okay? Your worth has never depended on anyone else's opinion. Keep that in mind. Now, where do we start? Now that we know that what's keeping us stuck, the big question is, how do we start breaking free? The truth is, you can't just wake up one day and undo decades of conditioning. I wish it was true. I wish it was a possibility, but unfortunately, it does not work like that. But what you can do is start shifting your awareness. Because once you see these patterns clearly, you can then start making different choices. Hi, Teresa. Oh, bless you. I'm so sorry to hear this. I'm going to send you a message after the training, Teresa. Right, okay. That's thrown me a bit. I'm thinking about you, lovely. Right, so the truth is, we cannot undo decades of conditioning, but what you can do is start shifting your awareness. Because once you see these patterns clearly, you can start making different choices. Okay, so let's talk about your first 3 steps towards the change. This isn't about fixing everything overnight. I wish I could do that for you, or we could do that. This is about building awareness so that you can finally start choosing you. Well, step number 1 is spot the good girl triggers. Okay, the first step to change is awareness. This is what I teach in my group coaching program. The first step is creating awareness. You cannot break free from something you do not even realize you're doing. Okay. Step 1 is spot the good girl triggers. These are the moments when you feel the urge to say yes, even when you want to say no. Apologize when you haven't done anything wrong. Overextend yourself just to keep others happy. Overthink every single text, email, conversation, you name it. Overthinking everything. Seeking reassurance before making decisions, etc. I need you to ask yourself, am I doing this because I truly want to? Or because I feel that I should? If the answer is because I should, then that's a trigger. It's a sign that you're acting out of conditioning, not from your true self and recognizing. Okay? It's a sign that you're acting out of conditioning and not from what you want. And if you can recognize that, then that's your first step towards breaking free. Now, number 2 is challenge the rules. Once you've spotted your triggers, the next step is to challenge the rules that are driving them. I need you to ask yourself, who said I have to be likable and worthy? Who benefits from me staying stuck in these patterns? And what would happen if I put myself first just for once? What would happen? Because here's the thing. The rules that you've been living by, they weren't created to serve you. They were created to keep you in a role that benefits others, whether that was family, society, or the people who are used to you always saying yes. Okay, so these rules were not created to serve you. They were created to keep you in a role that benefits others. But what if those rules weren't true? What if your worth was never tied to how much you give? What if you could say no without the guilt? And what if you didn't have to prove yourself to anyone? You get to decide what rules you follow. And when you start questioning them, you take back the power that they've had over you. Okay? Now, step number 3 is redefine what being good means for you. So if we're challenging the old good girl rules, what do we replace them with? Instead of being the good girl who plays small, let's step into something new. Either a bold woman that speaks her truth without the guilt. Let's be a worthy woman that knows that she doesn't have to earn love. Okay? Or be a free woman that makes choices for herself first. Imagine living as a woman who trusts her own decisions, who doesn't apologize for existing, or who knows that she is enough just as she is. Because you don't have to ask for permission to become her. You just have to start choosing her. Okay? Now, let's recap let's recap the biggest takeaways of today's. Step 1 is spot the triggers. Notice when you're acting from conditioning. Ask yourself them questions. Okay? Step number 2 is challenge the rules. Question the beliefs that are keeping you stuck. And step number 3 is redefine good. What does it mean to you? And step into that new version of you. Now, awareness seems a bit, what do you do with it? But it is actually the first step, but towards changing the patterns. You know, it's the first step. It's not the full step, but it's the first step. Changing the patterns will then take more steps. You need to understand, you need to accept. We then need to discover other things. We need to execute and try. Okay, and then we will work towards the freedom. Peggy here in the chat can talk about that because she's in the programming, she's doing it as we say. So next week, like I said before, there's a brand new masterclass coming up. It's a hands-on masterclass workshop inside of Zoom, Wednesday, February 26th. Condition to believe, how your past created your beliefs and how to rewrite them. This is where we'll go deeper into the beliefs keeping us stuck, and I will walk you step by step through the process of rewriting them so that you can start living life on your terms. Please drop an I'm in the comments if you want to join, and I'll send you the details, or look in the post after I have finished this live and there will be a link to sign up for it. And you will get the reminders then. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 3 steps resonated with you the most? Drop in the comments and let's chat if you like. Because you weren't born needing approval. You weren't born needing approval. You were taught to seek it. You came into this world whole, free, and enough without ever having to prove anything. But over time, you were conditioned to believe that your value was tied to how much you give, how much you achieve, how much you sacrifice for others, etc. Okay? And that conditioning has kept you in a cycle of self-doubt, overthinking, and never feeling like you're good enough. But here's the best part. I've said it before and I'll keep repeating it. If you were taught to seek approval, you were taught, that means that you can also learn to unlearn it. You can also take that step to unlearn it. Okay. Now, are you ready to go deeper? Because awareness is a huge first step, but actually breaking free from these patterns, it takes the deeper work. If you're ready to go deeper, to stop people pleasing, over apologizing, questioning your worth, this is exactly what we work on inside of my group coaching program and one-to-one coaching packages. Okay, inside my Peaceful Chaos Method coaching program, I guide you step by step through identifying and rewriting the beliefs that are keeping you stuck, learning how to set boundaries without the guilt, finally feeling good enough without the external validation needed. Okay, and for those of you who want more personal support, I also offer one-to-one coaching packages where we work together to break these patterns in a way that's tailored just for you. Now, these packages are a bit of money, they cost a bit of money, but in the end, I've heard people say, many of them, that they got more out of the coaching with me than they've had from years and years of therapy, paying thousands and thousands of dollars for therapy, and they're still where they were back then. I believe in what I do. I believe in finding the patterns and making you aware so that you can then think about what is going on. So if you think that you could benefit from anything that I'm offering, or if you're curious about what talking one-to-one would be like, then I offer you to book a complimentary personalized assessment with me to help you take back control. They are free. It's called the Take Back Control Mentorship Call. It's an absolute, there's no sales pitch in it at all. I can tell you something about what I do, how I do it, and why I do it, so that you can understand the process behind it. If you want to know what I offer, I can tell you about it, but you are not obligated to do or buy anything. It's just to see where you are at. Okay, I would like to help. Now, I'm going to stop sharing because that's it for today. Now, it's your turn. If you're watching, if today's training resonated with you and you're ready to start unlearning these patterns, here's your first step. Drop "Goodbye, good girl" in the comments if you're ready to start breaking free from these old rules. If you want to take this work even further, send me a message on Messenger with "I'm ready," and I'll share details on how we can work together or how you can book a complimentary personalized assessment with me, which is free. Okay, it's free. There's no charge whatsoever. Because I'm convinced you do not have to keep living for others' approval. You actually get to start living for you. And I would love to support you on that journey. Now, thank you for being here today, for showing up for yourself, and for being part of this incredible community. I see you, And I am so damn proud of you. And I will hopefully see you next week. Don't forget to grab your spot for next week's hands-on Zoom masterclass, Conditioned to Believe, how your past created your beliefs and how to rewrite them. Drop an I'm in into the comments if you want the details. And I am sending you so much love, and I will be here next week. Bye.